to be recording this. Watch what you say.
So, my name is Carsten Munk. Many of you know me on the MeeGo IC channels as STS Keeps. I usually help a lot of people and talk a lot, so that's why you might know me. I'm also the MeeGo Nokia N900 hardware adaptation maintainer, which basically means I deal not so much with user interface in MeeGo N900, but I deal instead with the details of getting stuff to actually talk to the hardware. And I'm here to talk to you about an interesting topic about hacking your existence, where I want to discuss a little bit about the importance of having open image devices in a MeeGo world. So, let's start with definitions. What is in fact an open image device? And I asked myself this exact question, and I remember back to where I had my own baby steps in programming, the Commodore 64. And one particular instruction, command, load star, 8, command, and 1, load the first thing from disk and actually go ahead and run it. And the interesting thing about this was that the computer would actually, it didn't really care what you were loading. It didn't care what it was being fed. It could be everything from new user experience, it could be a funny game, it could be something I've made myself. It could be a replacement operating system. It took everything it could with endless possibilities. The only thing that was limiting it was the strength of the hardware. And, well, in those times this was pretty powerful, but nowadays it doesn't seem like much. And I kind of refound that joy in the PC, and as of recently also in mobile devices, for example, with the Nokia 810, with the Nokia 900. I could do everything I wanted. The vendor didn't choose for me. I could go ahead and install Debian on my phone if I wanted to, for example. And I was free to do whatever I wanted. No one had to tell me what to do. So going ahead a little more, try to explain a little more about what is actually a MeeGo world. So let's start off by ubiquitous computing. Some of you people might come from a computer science background, multimedia or whatever, so you might know this already. But once upon a time, there was a quite smart man named Mark Weiser, a researcher at the Zero Park Research Lab. He sadly died too young, but when he actually lived, he coined a concept called ubiquitous computing. And I'm quoting straight from Wikipedia here. Ubiquitous computing is a post-desktop model of human-computer interactions in which information processing has been truly integrated into everyday objects and activities. In the course of ordinary activities, someone using ubiquitous computing engages many computational devices and systems simultaneously. And they might actually not be aware that they're doing so. And one hint that this is kind of where many people are going is, for example, well, Apple, they're very much talking about the post-PC era. And I don't know if you noticed this particular quote here, that we're talking about we are in the personal computing area, and the next comes ubiquitous computing, or the age of phone technology. And every company really has different terms for this, future world and whatever. For example, Apple calls it post-PC world, Intel calls it connected devices, HP talks about a seamless experience in a connected world. And I really think that MeeGo is quite a good proposition on the basis of which to make this kind of world where this concept comes alive. So, to help you a little bit to understand ubiquitous computing a little better, I'd like to show you a video that has become quite dear to me recently. It's really one of the best futuristic videos. I don't have a fancy company behind me, so I've stolen this from YouTube directly. And well, some of the concepts there might seem a little bit out there. The technologies that they're showing, they kind of exist already. You just kind of have to put them together. So I'll just let you watch for a little bit and come with some comments. What we actually see here, we have the user interfaces. In the latest years, there has been thousands and thousands of user interface toolkits. There has been different widget sets. They've only been targeted towards one kind of user interface, device, product, whatever. And many product programs have had redesigns upon redesigns to get towards a product. And nowadays we have very powerful toolkits, for example, QML, as MeeGo was talking about. We can basically make any kind of user interface nowadays in much shorter time than what we did originally. You do see multiple types of devices here, all connected and personalized. But I think it's also important to remember that these devices are not going to come from the same company. You're not going to have a company that makes both the fridge and the oven and my cell phone and whatever. So we have a model for the future where we actually go out and have a compatible base across things. And we should also remember everything might not be MeeGo. It might also be Windows Phone, it might be Windows 8, it might be the Apple Store. So this is something we have to look into. In this, we are really seeing that the technology, instead of us sitting with our Nokia 900s and just working with it, entering into its world, the technology is supposed to come out into the world together with us instead. This is kind of contrary to virtual reality, where we, instead of entering the world of the computer, we let the computer come out into the world with us. It becomes part of our background, becomes part of our reality, our existence. So, just moving a little ahead. But to turn this talk a little bit away from just futuristic vision, this is quite easy. I'd like to ask you one question. Did any of you actually stop to think about how the situation looks like 1 year after being futuristic vision? Think of this. How long do you actually expect your fridge, your oven, your surfaces, your tables, how long time do you expect them to live? 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever, right? And that's quite an interesting situation right now. If we have people who are making our smartphone operating systems, that's driving this development towards futuristic interface, whatever. Well, we have kind of a problem because these exact people, they only deliver updates up to like 2 years after they release the product. So we're going to have to end up with a table that might, intelligent surface that might be useless after 2 years. Because we might come from the same kind of applications. And is this really the attitude we want to have from the people providing our everyday objects? I mean, it's not very environmentally friendly to throw out your table after 2 years. So, how do we get that out to the expected lifetime of your everyday objects? So, to understand that problem, I would like to talk a little bit about the PC. While this might actually not seem very relevant to our fancy mobile devices, tablets, and so on, and the futuristic surfaces seen in this video, what the PC went through actually helps to understand what kind of challenges we face in the future. Did you know that the PC actually has 30 years birthday this year? So why does that matter? Because it matters that the PC platform actually had quite a success. PCs are about everywhere now in all sorts of shapes and uses. And why was it a success? One of the reasons was it was backwards compatible. We could run applications. I can run applications that I was using on my PC AT machine back in the 80s, still on Windows. And the fact that the computers were actually reproducible and upgradable. They were open-ended. You could boot anything you wanted on them. You could repurpose them to file servers, you could make them into ATMs. You can reuse them in schools. It didn't really matter that they were so powerful. And those servers, well, there was kind of a hardware, the API, no ability to work one time machine. And most importantly, it was a hardware standard that everybody felt. I mean, first to start with IBM PC and people spoke with it like that. And the interesting thing is, they always actually stood to the challenge of being able to install them on these different servers. The standard was, I'm actually able to install Windows or Windows Office. And I'd like to talk about how do we form the next 30 years of security? Is MeeGo the answer? It's a bit complex, as I was mentioning before, but we are probably going to end up with a bunch of different phases and operating systems running this particular future. It's complex. We have to span way more devices, architectures, half the differences away. So we kind of combine hardware and software solutions. But we might end up we need to go to what kind of like this like the internet, but really we are working on it to make more one of the reasons I think we don't have a strong position is that if we share many of the same characteristics as what is the PC platform successful. Through the MeeGo compliance program, we have the backwards compatibility ability that using evolving MeeGo API, we can so tightly that the application we made in MeeGo 1.2 it will work on MeeGo 2.0 or whatever. And let's say that if hardware adaptations in MeeGo actually kept up to date, the optional stuff, it might actually be that we can continue to use MeeGo on the same device. And well, just like the people who are cloning the PC, MeeGo is compelling because it's open, it's a free standard, everybody can copy and use on their products in all sorts of sizes. But MeeGo does kind of have a flaw in this particular case. It doesn't actually mandate that we can repurpose the device. It doesn't mandate, it might actually, it doesn't mandate that devices should be open-ended. And in the mobile business currently, there's actually kind of a tendency towards lockdown bootloaders. You can't root some of the Android phones these days. Where I've walked up, I can only get my software from one vendor. And this is of course not necessarily what the sales and marketing people want to hear. But we can't build a future. We can't build a home with objects that just last 3 years and they go useless. It's not the way you can do it. And this is what I call the rapidly working devices. So a good old example is this is not the future we want to have. There might be some lucky things in here. Yeah. Nokia's actually been doing good things, but for example, Nokia 100 is flexible, it's open-ended. But this is not a general tendency because people want more, the vendors want more control because it's so available. But if I buy an intelligent freezer with an interactive surface, I want to know that I can use it like old devices, like I'll be able to use it for several years. And with good expectation, I can upgrade it, just like I upgraded my PC from Windows 98 or the 2.5 to Windows XP, and stuff still work. And I'll be able to adapt to new applications and use them. And if we have to have the same kind of people who make our smartphones work, actually do the work to make our everyday objects and computing experience, they have to learn that they need to make proper open-ended devices to last, because otherwise, frankly, the revolution will be short-lived and they won't be able to integrate into people's homes. Because I don't want to have a home where I throw up of the time. I want something that lasts. And we won't get the 30-year game of computing. So I'd like to motivate every developer in this room, buy open-ended devices, support the vendors that actually do this, do amazing things with them. You can, for example, buy a Panda board, you can link it up with the TV, you can connect it with a touchscreen kit, you can do all sorts of different interesting devices using it. They're kind of low cost these days. And I'd like to say that smartphones is one thing, but I think we need to think way beyond the smartphone. Tablets might look like the next thing, but who says that, for example, making HDM is also a good made for business market? You don't have to remake the entire operating system for your HDM. And it's really time for you to start to innovate and build the future, just like the pioneers stacked and the PC that made the software, made the operating system. And it's the future. All the pieces are here. If you want, for example, get into the telephone, we have, for example, the Nokia 100 developer edition. You can go in and make this phone anything you'd like it to be. It's open source. Even the telephone stack works without full-size components. And this is quite interesting because you can really make some interesting proposals for new products and so on. And it's all open. And many people have already started to hack MeeGo into existing open-ended devices, and I think that you can do very, very much interesting things. And these are devices that were bought for running into a tablet, for example, and now we're seeing that the open-ended are being used beyond their initial purposes. So, to summarize, you can perhaps see that they have to make a processor with intelligent services. Here's my summary. William Gibson had a quite nice quote saying that the future is already here, it's just not very evenly distributed. And this is very true for how many technologies out there. We're seeing transparent displays in the video. Well, these actually, they're getting mass produced themselves. And MeeGo, I think that MeeGo really provides a compelling base for building these kind of futures. Because we, as open source, we can make any kind of interface device, and I think that we can really start to build the next 20 years of computing. Because, well, the PC is going out of fashion. It's official. And I think we can really start to hack our cities, hack our homes, hack our workplaces, and add new compelling things to it. Because now we can really do everything, add new objects, and so on. And the good thing about this is, MeeGo is open. We can go and collaborate together in the open on the base of the future that we are trying to build. And that's what I have. Any questions?
I have comments. Yeah, no need for the microphone. Thanks, Carsten. This is really exciting. This is really interesting. But if we think about okay, who is not a geek here? Who is a finance or business person here?
This is actually not a business event.
Yeah. So, but ultimately, we are all geeks, and we love the fact that we can hack our devices. We love the fact that we can play with them and do whatever we want with them, which is great. But ultimately, isn't the assumption that you make is that companies cannot make their software evolve fast enough to keep the trend. That's why we need the hackers. We need the hackers to push that envelope and do things faster so that everybody then can decide what they want to do. That's not viable in terms of business. And although there are open devices, which is great, there are devices that are not open, that's fine. But if I buy a fridge tomorrow, do I want to be able to update the software with something that I don't really understand if I'm a normal consumer? Or do I want my company to tell me that there is an update for your fridge? This is what you're going to get. And thanks to the community behind that operating system, which I agree is important, you get all these new features. But it still comes from the fridge company rather than me hacking my fridge with a USB key and stuff. And let alone an ATM.
So the other side of this is actually, if your devices are open-ended, you actually kind of go out and create a new marketplace. Because there might actually be business. Let's say I want to start a business where I continue to support a certain amount of old fridges, for example. Or that I'm an application developer. I know that everyone is going to get updates in sure enough time. It's also about creating a new marketplace for these kind of updates and applications that you work with.
So ultimately, the challenge that we have now is that there's too much of a disconnect between the developer community and the manufacturers. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need to solve. Yes. Is the open-ended, the open devices needs that to be solved anyway, because the manufacturers need to accept the fact that they're going to open their devices. Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay. Just an additional comment to that one. One interesting concept that I haven't seen is, or models would be that these manufacturers would make a social contract to open their devices after certain periods. For example, after 2 or 3 years, they say that we will keep this device locked for 2 or 3 years, and then we will allow repassing those devices or some other mechanism open those devices to be really open in these devices.
Yeah,
and there was some interesting developments from Sony recently, where they went out actually and offered people they could unlock their phones to a website. They simply got a keypad so they could open the bootloader. You lost your warranty, of course, but it's quite a nice gesture.
Yeah, there's a precedent in the business, which is the locking of the devices to a service provider, and this is there's a contract in your contract. You're legally, I mean, they're legally obligating you to stay locked for a certain amount of time, but then they are legally obliged to open that so that you can use your device with any other providers. So maybe there's something to look at in there. If you know we've got lawyers in the room or people. Maybe there is something to do on the devices so that after a certain period of time, when the product is not maybe on the market anymore, then they open them up and people can start hacking and repurposing them.
Yeah, hey, Carsten here. So, but I could say a few words about this because this is something we thought about for a long time, and I think it's a market economy we are living in here, and decisions like this they are driven by like kind of product considerations and product strategy, life cycles and things like that. And there are like today you see, for example, the mobile phone industry is driven by the operator subsidies and software locking, and it's just the fact of life. It just can't change that easily. Of course, regulation is one thing which can kind of drive that to another direction and so on. But then also there are also kind of rational reasons for companies to open up this area. Let's take an example of the Nokia 770. So we started with that. We had an explicit kind of target to make that a hackable device. We had a hackability requirement, honestly. So, and why we had that? Well, we were doing this. It was a kind of skunk works project at Nokia. And we knew that it's not a mainstream device. We want to target the market. We actually designed a product for guys like Carsten. So it's no accident that you like N810 because you even at that time you were part of the target customer group, and it was a rational reason, and it doesn't end there. Like for a company to develop products based on open source software platform. And then share the development effort, invest into that, and so on. Then it makes sense that you have a kind of device, even a flagship device, which is open and that's also like it's a logic. Doing your R&D, make your R&D easy for yourself, for your partners, and so on. So there are reasons, but I think we should always look into these rational reasons for this kind of things, and let's not be too like blue-eyed on this thing and hope the companies will change this. Corporations they have to like big financial incentives to do those things, and not going to go away. But let's help them to make it open. There are also companies like maybe I don't know if IBM deliberately did that, but then Intel and others who were actually deliberately doing this global architecture. So we can find these risks. But I'd say that's a really good thought. Really
Thank you, Carsten. I also like the presentation, so it was almost like my mystery as well. We all know that you are high at the moment, mostly through your part of the architect devices. But on the other hand, of course, we were right, so we has managed to make these sort of devices. And also, some people also think that the software side of that is somewhat open because some application developers is open. We are a small company, we can start to develop something and you know that after 5 or 10 years it most certainly runs and the business is getting somewhere. So how we can actually now realize something like that, and then in the legal space because it seems to require this kind of dual coding in some sense because you kind of try that you think of course there is no comment to this mobile state as well.
Well, the interesting thing about the PC architecture, it's possible for anyone to go in and say, I would like to boot from a CD. It allows you to boot. This is the first step in any device. We actually see an ARM side nowadays, but many of you might have seen the Windows 8 representatives in Explorer 10. They're kind of forcing ARM to go towards standards as well. And you're going to see the same kind of things. You're going to see how we actually deliver the installation media. In ARM has been sort of concentrated on devices come with pre-installed firmware. Instead with PCs, well, they came with pre-installed firmware and they made from them first. But they didn't. They also allowed the diploma tool to go in and recover your system. So we might actually see the same kind of tendency for that.
So I think that in this particular case in ARM was just to do that there is no BIOS or there is no standardized bootloader. Probably I think that the best thing was, or the most general thing that could come out from the MeeGo would that we would do some kind of standard UFEI like Linux BIOS in such way that would also handle the virtualization for the upcoming. So that I think would be the either commercial or open source, probably the most successful hardcore hacking project persons could take, and if there are people who have interest and skills, I can be contacted, but I'm maybe a facilitator, not a programmer.
The interesting thing about Android devices is actually they come with sort of the same bootloader, all of them. I mean, many people have this fast-boot thing that they're using. Many people are using this to load new kernels and hack their devices because normally they're just left open. You can unlock them. This may be also where the tendency is going towards. But there's a one common bootloader. You can use the same kind of development tools on any Android device. Any more questions?
Yeah, lucky you that Commodore, the cross computer, mine was several times lower. Speaking of open-endedness, that's a very cool enabler, but again about the PC and its 30-year success, nowadays half of requests for support that I get, let's say, from my other friends is about installing codecs for videos, because, you know, PC is open, Windows is kind of open, and you can play there whatever, but all these DivX and XVID are not really supported by Microsoft, and somebody has to do the job. Now thinking about all these bridges and interactive upgradable open-ended devices, I wonder how are you going to make them not only potentially upgradable, but also how you are going to encourage companies to maintain the interoperability between different versions of different bridges. Like nowadays on open market, the only company I see who makes the devices really interoperate is Apple. That's not exactly the ideal open-ended company. How are we going to encourage LG to make sure that 10 years from now the bridge will still be able to talk to Samsung TV? Or that we will still be able to drag the video stream from your iPhone to your LG bridge?
So the interesting thing nowadays is that most consumer products, they actually originate from hardware vendors' development boards. That means they really share a lot of the same kind of functionality. The actual hardware adaptation is specific for the product. It's cut down from very small chips. So similar, let's say that the fridge operator actually goes and sends the drivers to Linux kernel. Okay. This might be a pipe dream, might be unrealistic, but it might mean in theory that this particular Linux kernel will be able to talk and abstract these devices away. And you can basically install a new distribution, works. So how we motivate them, that's a good question.
Yeah, to the previous question, we just need to use freezing API and then we have interoperability. But yeah, learning from now, I was just wondering, most of us, including me, are very much software people and he knows about software. Regarding the long-term vision, do you see or do you often think about the popular hardware and if it's kind of needed to keep the hardware market on average open enough, or is it going to continue like it has basically that usually the software people don't care that much about the hardware, they just take it as is?
one of the things about user experience these days, it matters a lot about with the hardware, because if you have to make good user experience, you have to go from the hardware up to the software, right? And I think we really have to care about the hardware, because if we're sitting and developing on a 4 gigahertz PC towards a 300 megahertz embedded device, hardware is going to matter. And yeah, so we really need to keep in mind hardware always, because this is the device we are running on.
Okay, any more questions? If not, let's give a big hand for the Carsten.
Okay, so one more